All right, everybody, big news this morning is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine looks extremely promising. I released an update on that this morning a little earlier than usual. Might have gotten buried in your YouTube feeds, but be sure to check that video out. Link at the top of the screen if you haven't done so already. But in this video, what I want to talk about is what Joe Biden could possibly do for stimulus without Congress. We know that in the wake of stalled stimulus negotiations, President Trump issued 4 presidential directives to serve as a stimulus light of sorts. We went over them extensively here on the channel, and recently, in light of the election, we've been talking about how, okay, Biden won the presidency. Republicans will control the Senate if they are victorious in at least one of the 2 January U.S. Senate runoffs in Georgia. And even if the Democrats win both of those races, it'll be 50-50 with Kamala Harris tiebreaker. They will still need at least a handful of Republican votes on whatever they do to get cloture. And that means that even if Joe Biden wants a massive stimulus, it would be tempered significantly because he still needs some Republican votes in the Senate, even if Dems win both Georgia Senate races in a couple months. But what we have not talked about is what Joe Biden could do without Congress, taking cues from his predecessor, Donald Trump, in issuing presidential directives to accomplish a stimulus light of sorts. I was reading an article in the New York Times this morning that quoted one Felicia Wong, who is CEO of the progressive think tank, the Roosevelt Institute, but is also advising Biden's transition team. Ms. Wong said that she believes there is a tremendous amount that Biden can do without Congress. I'm going to tell you what she said, but I'll be honest here. I think a lot of this is wishful thinking. For example, one thing Felicia Wong brought up was student debt relief. Wong claims that Biden could direct the Secretary of Education to forgive student loans up to a certain amount of money. She threw out $50,000 to $75,000. Now, I think this is a bit of wishful thinking on Ms. Wong's part, and I doubt that Joe Biden would do this without Congress. However, some very vocal individuals on the left, most notably Senator Elizabeth Warren, who wants to be Biden's Treasury Secretary, but good luck with that if Republicans retain the Senate. But Elizabeth Warren believes that the president does have the power to unilaterally direct the Secretary of Education to forgive student loan debt. She brought this up during her campaign extensively. Wong also said that the Biden administration could use executive authority to raise the minimum wage for federal contractors to $15 an hour. I would counter that and saying, is that fair to only give this boost to federal contractors? But again, she is just putting ideas out there. Another thing that Ms. Wong brought up is the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP. We know that a major criticism that Democrats had about the PPP was that money went out without oversight. Biden could have the Treasury Department dig into those PPP loans, audit them even closer, and make sure that money actually went to covering salaries and overhead as was intended for forgiveness. And any money that shouldn't have gone out, they could demand back and repurpose for other stimulus measures. This is potentially something Biden could do. We know there were some instances of fraud with the PPP that got a lot of press. This is something I could see the Biden administration doing. But whatever the case, I think that President Trump's directives that he made over the summer kind of set a little bit of a precedent to Joe Biden to consider making similar moves during his administration, even without Congress. Biden could also tweak some of Trump's policies regarding the taxation of foreign income, as well as opportunity zone regulations. Opportunity zones are those areas in the country that were designated by the Trump Tax Act as, if you sell, say, appreciated stock and reinvest that money into one of these opportunity zones, you could essentially defer the taxes paid on that appreciated stock, much like you typically can do only with real estate in a 1031 exchange. But perhaps more so than taxation, it's in the area of trade that Biden has the most power to make moves as president. I did a video on Trump's executive action on TikTok. Remember the whole TikTok ban scare thing? I made a video on that. Obviously, Biden also has power with tariffs, particularly on China. But a bigger question here is, does Biden want to come out of the gate swinging, knocking down Trump policies left and right? Because remember, in his speeches the past few days, his language has been very bipartisan. He said, I want to govern for all Americans, Democrats and Republicans. We can be opponents, but not enemies. So I look at these statements by Felicia Wong, who advises Biden's transition team. I think, okay, some of these ideas might be nice, but is an image of a fighting Joe really something that Biden wants to portray himself as early on in his administration? I'm not sure, but what do you think? Do you think that Joe Biden will issue presidential directives, executive orders, and memoranda similar to what President Trump did, apart from congressional approval, on stimulus or on any of these other items for that matter? Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.